it's a little bit, it's not too late. It's only 10 o'clock. We're not going to be here too long. Hey guys, how are you? What's going on? If you're in the bushes, tap, 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 tap in. I'm sending out a notification. I think I'm in notification deficit at this moment, probably because I've put up stuff today, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and get into it, and go run through this video real quick because I saw this. I started watching it, and I got almost all the way through it, but I said, let me go ahead and watch this with y'all. Hey, everybody. As you're coming in, go ahead and tap in for me. I so appreciate it. Let's get into it. If you're following this story, the Kei'Mani Latigue story, you guys know that Kei'Mani was her remains were discovered, well, were found, I won't say it like that, discovered, found on Monday, and her quote unquote father, we don't know, it hasn't um I don't know if he has been legitimized as her father or not, if DNA tests have been done. The grandmother said sometimes he says he's the dad, sometimes he's not. I'm not really sure. Obviously, there was a very bizarre dynamic going on in this family. So, based on what they've said, this is what it is. But the man who identified himself as her father took off to Columbus, I guess, to evade the police, whatever his story is. And at he was apprehended by SWAT, and they have the body cam to show it. So we're over here at WTOL 11 in Ohio, and they've done some reporting this evening on the matter. So let's get into it and see what they have to say. Okay.
Dude, show me your hands right now.
And you can see it's him. He shaved all his hair off. So a few days before, he had his hair locked up, and as we can all see, he no longer. So was that to conceal his identity? I mean, maybe. It would be safe to say, let me see. I think I have a picture pulled up of what he looked like. Okay, so but right before this particular situation, maybe a few days before, this is what Sir was looking like. Okay? This is what Sir looked like. And then when he was apprehended in Columbus, he was giving this, shaved his head, shaved his facial hair, all of the things. So okay, looking real dusty. And then over here, pretty much the same, but no hair. But the police were good. They were able to identify him pretty quickly. 2025 is coming in like what? Okay.
Get your hand out of your. I swear to God, boy.
Okay, you got that big, ginormous gun being pointed at you, and I probably would have just straight passed out. Like I would have just been like, oh, and I just would have fainted. This guy, look what this guy does.
Right now, boy, get your hand out.
What did he say? Did he say don't shoot me, bro? Hold on.
Dude, show me your hands right now. Boy, get your hand out of your. I swear to God, boy.
Ooh, okay.
We're tracking new details in the death of Kei'Mani Latigue.
Oh, he got him quick. I didn't even realize he shot him like that. Okay.
Hands right now. Boy, get your hand out of your. I swear to God, boy.
We're tracking new details in the death of Kei'Mani Latigue. The full unedited body cam video as police find and shoot the man they say killed her. What it shows happened just before an officer pulled the trigger. Plus, we get answers.
Look at the undercover. Hold on. Look at the undercover. Was he in the Nissan? Oh, whatever that is, maybe some sort of hatchback type vehicle. Hold on. I feel like there was a lady walking down the street. There was a lady who had just cleared, and they probably told her, get your behind down the street.
I swear to God, boy.
We're tracking new details in the death of Kei'Mani Latigue. The full unedited body cam video as police find and shoot the man they say killed her. What it shows happened just before an officer pulled the trigger. Plus, we get answers from Toledo's top cop.
We were able to develop information and leads, and as sad as it is, recover her and bring some closure to the family, to the community.
The investigation into the abduction and murder of the 13-year-old girl continues. The full uncut interview with Toledo Police Chief Mike Trenley.
Political officials are going to have to step up. The local organizations, nonprofit and private, the businesses are also going to have to step up, because at this point, we should have been doing this a long, long time ago.
We just can't wait to make this happen and make it better for these kids out here.
The call for answers and justice continues as our community mourns the death of 13-year-old Kei'Mani Latigue. Her family is remembering her life as she would have celebrated her 14th birthday this week, and her father remains in the hospital, shot by police and charged with killing her. Here's how the story has unfolded. Toledo police posted the alert that Kei'Mani was missing on Tuesday, March.
There's the grandmother who was cussing and fussing on the corners when they actually identified the location where her remains were. And I posted that this morning. I mean, they were acting a fool on the corner. And I'm sure it was a stressful situation, but between the biological mother and the grandmother, they were cussing and fussing up a storm.
March 18th. It was just after 4 p.m. She was last reported at her grandmother's home on Elm Street in North Toledo. The next day, WTOL 11 spoke with the teen's grandmother, Dorothy Latigue. She's also Kei'Mani's legal guardian. She said she came home from work Tuesday morning, found Kei'Mani was missing. She called her school before making a report to TPD. By Friday, March 21st, family, friends, even strangers came out to North Toledo to search for Kei'Mani. Her mother, Tiara Caston, was there from Cleveland. Kei'Mani's dad, Darnell Jones, would be charged with abduction on Sunday, March 23rd. Court documents show he was the last person with her before she went missing. Then on Monday, March 24th, police found a body inside a home on Miami Street in East Toledo. The Lucas County Coroner's Office would later identify the remains of those of 13-year-old Kei'Mani Latigue. Her time of death was 12:19 p.m. Jones would be charged with murder that same day, and Columbus police tracked him to the city on Tuesday, March 25th. It was then that officers ended up shooting him and finding a gun at the scene. In a moment, we'll show you the unedited body cam video of this encounter. We do want to warn you, the video is graphic. There is profanity. You can see Columbus police identify Jones walking in the short north. They approach him. He says he wants to die, ignores police commands, appears to move his hand in his pocket, and then is shot. You're going to see two views, one from the officer who shot Jones, and then it switches to another responding officer whose body-worn camera better shows what happened next. Viewer discretion is advised.
Where am I?
Do you imagine you're walking, you're outside, you are taking a little break from your work at home job. You're like, let me just walk my dog for a minute. And all of a sudden you are crossing paths with a notorious wanted individual and don't even realize it. You're just trying to cross the street. And here come a bunch of undercover cops and have a shootout as you're trying to cross the nice, quiet street.
Where am I?
Don't do it.
What's your name?
Kill me.
Dude, show me.
He said, kill me. Hold on.
Where am I?
Don't do it.
What's your name?
Kill me.
Dude, show me your fucking hands right now.
Me, bro.
Pull your fucking hand out. I swear to God, pull your.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Gas in a second.
Don't fucking move.
Does he look like he's gonna move? Look at him.
Don't move. He's got 33 right there.
33 in his hands.
No, it's a walkie-talkie.
but there's 33s right here. Don't you move or you're going to get shot, okay? All right? Got it. Yep. That's him. Somebody get out.
Somebody get on the main air. Get us a medic. I'm working on it.
All right, on your belly. All right. I got cuffs. There you go. Thank you, brother. We'll get you help, okay?
I just want to die, bro.
No, I know, but we can't allow that.
I can't.
You got to get to court this week, sir.
I don't want to live.
Get us some cruisers. Secure this scene.
Okay, good idea.
All right, who fired? Him in the car.
He did too.
All right. You did? I did not. Okay. He did. Okay. You good? All right. You good? All right. I know. All right. Listen to me. Listen, I got to roll you off. I got to get you up on your side, okay? I got to get you up on your side. I got you. All right. Where you hit at, bro?
I don't know. All in my leg.
All in your leg. He's all hit right here. I know. He's hitting his arm once.
Oh my God.
Need a medic here now. Where's your family? I know. They're coming, okay? We got him. He's hit once in the arm. All right. He's hitting the side here. Yep, you're hitting the side. Okay. You'll be fine. Hey, look. You know what's good about this?
What?
Sit up, okay? You're gonna be fine.
I can't move my leg.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I think we're broke. Where do you guys need us?
There you go. How's that?
They broke.
Okay.
I can't get up.
Okay. We're gonna leave you sit here like this. Take a deep breath.
Copy that.
Do me a favor. Take a deep breath for me, okay? Hey, move
your
your car. Block that road. You're on shell cases. Get that road blocked. We can't lay you down. Okay, you've got to stay up. I'll hold you up, all right? You just relax. Lean back into there. There you go. You're going to be fine. Listen, hey, nothing's ever that bad, all right?
Yes.
Okay, well. Darnell, right? Do you have anything else on you? Do you have any more guns? Yes? Where's the guns at? Where's the other gun at? I don't. Darnell.
Girl, you got a pocket full of dimes.
Darnell. Do you have anything else on you?
Some dimes and a dollar bill.
Well, I think he's just fading. I don't know. Nope. Just stay back, okay, please? Stay back. Hey. Okay. We're making good witnesses. You're fine, ma'am. You're fine. We got to get him searched. The medic's going to take him. I know. Hey, you guys just go chill somewhere else. Hey, have that cruiser start getting scene tape. Let the medic in. Step back. They're fine. It's fine. Yeah, we need a cart. Cart. I know. Stay with me, bro. Keep talking to me, guys. Hey, 511. If anyone is listening at home, officer support. Sit here, legs, arms. Which way do you want his head? Here. Right there. Okay. Up. You need him out of the cuffs?
Yeah, we're gonna need them out.
All right. We're gonna have to. Hey, listen. We're gonna roll you over one more time. All right. Gotta get those cuffs off. You see, relax. Clean up. There you go. He's hitting the arm, leg, arm, and I believe left chest. Okay. I get a good search on him. I am. Everything's got to come off. You taking him down enough in this? Yeah. All right. That's fine. Pull this. All right. Cut stuff off. Cut your gun. You have to help us lift? Yep. Grab one, grab the head. 1, 2, 3. Down. We're down. Hold on. Just there. All right, I'm good. Hey, don't move your arm. I know it hurts. They're going to help you, okay? I couldn't even shoot me in the head. Well, we're not trying to hurt you. We're not trying to kill you. No, we're not going to take it off your arm, okay? They're going to cut it off in just a second.
Jones was due in court on weapons charges in Columbus, but did not appear because he remained in the hospital as of Thursday, March 27th. Now the call for justice continues. Rumors swirl on social media, and there may still be more questions than answers. WTOL 11's Silver Barker took the discussion to our city's top cop. She sat down with Toledo Police Chief Mike Trenley to separate fact from fiction.
So my first question for you, Chief Trenley, you know, there's been a lot. So let's kind of do like a timeline, and let's start with first question. Let's go back to when Kei'Mani was first reported missing. You know, there was a report sent out, but is there a reason why there wasn't an Amber Alert? That's a lot of people's question.
Yeah, so when she first went missing, our Amber Alert requires specific criteria when and how we do our Amber Alerts. And that's kind of like a national standard. And so it did not meet that criteria because at that point, there was not any thought of there was a family kidnapping or family being involved or any foul play at that point. At this point, we had a lot of different stories about a missing 13-year-old that may or may not have ran away for different reasons. So at that time, we'd already interviewed all the family members and we were talking to everybody. So there was nothing that would have qualified for an Amber Alert or that actually an Amber Alert would have done for the investigation.
What is the usual criteria for an Amber Alert, just so people know?
Yeah, so there's different things, but a lot of times, especially when it involves a family member, we need to have that we suspect a family member has kidnapped them and has run off with them, that we have descriptions of cars or locations and stuff like that, something that we can provide. And for this type of case, it just did not meet that criteria.
Now, my second question for you, TPD received a tip. You guys received a tip about the body that was found in that house. That's how you guys first found out about it being there, correct?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, actually. Which tip?
You guys received about the body being found on Miami Street in the house. There was a tip that you guys received, or was it anything in the report? It was mentioning that you guys were notified, and I believe it went to the detectives' work as well. There was communication and messaging through, was there a phone call or anything, or Crime Stoppers? Was there anything sent out? How did you guys find out about the body inside the house?
Through detective work, really. So, so through some interviews and some investigating. At this time, I can't disclose why or how, because it's still very pertinent to the investigation. And at this point, we're not ready to talk about that aspect of it. But yes, it was our detectives doing a great job interviewing and investigating and following up on some leads that got us to that location.
Now, going to the body when it was reported that it was found in the house, when lots of people found out and it spread in the community, people showed up very soon right after that while you guys were there doing your work. There are a lot of people live streaming on their phones, showing it and kind of just talking about it in general. There's a huge presence there. I mean, we saw it. I was there that day. Did that at all impact your guys' work there while you were doing that? Did it affect how you guys were doing? I mean, could you guys have done anything differently there if people weren't there, you know, yelling, shouting? What? No,
obviously, anytime you add a little bit of chaos to a scene, that makes it a little bit harder for us to do our job. But, you know, we're prepared for that. So we have officers that can contain the outer perimeter and make sure that no one gets in. And then our detectives, they're focused on their job. They're going to do their job, whether there's people watching or not. So they're still going to be able to do it. It's just the outside officers being involved more and trying to maintain, you know, as you just said, a very highly agitated scene for good reasons, right? But the reality is it doesn't affect the investigation itself. It just makes it a little bit harder for the officers on the scene to maintain that perimeter.
Do you have any idea how many of your officers were out there that day?
I actually don't know how many we had deployed out there that day. I know we had a lot of detectives, roughly 10 to 12 detectives that were on scene. As far as the outer perimeter for the number of patrol officers on scene, I don't know that number.
Now, moving on to Darnell Jones, he's in the hospital currently, and that's where we're kind of at with that situation. But I know that yesterday you mentioned in an interview that you guys sent detectives down there for questioning. Has he confessed to anything? Has he confessed previously before then? What are you guys getting?
So we did send detectives down and interviewed him in his hospital room. We made progress there. So we have some things that we're going through at this point. Once we get all the information that he provided, that we've gathered, we'll meet with the prosecutors. We'll walk through that timeline with the prosecutors and decide with their guidance on the charges that will be filed. And then at that point, we'll talk about, what charges are going to be out there. We'll release that information. But right now, we did talk to him. We are moving forward. I would say we're in a pretty good spot investigatively anyways on moving forward with this case.
Speaking of charges, on Monday, we read in a report that he was charged with third-degree felony of abduction. At this point, what charges are we still looking at? Do you happen to know? Is that charge still there, and is a murder charge as well?
So, as my understanding right now is the murder charge is added and the abduction charge is still there, but that's right now, those are the only charges that are out there. Obviously, as we work through all of the statements and all the leads that we have now, there may be additional charges.
Do you believe that Darnell acted alone, or is at the time right now, are you guys considering other suspects, or is there other people you guys are looking at?
We're always looking at the chance that there might be multiple people involved. I don't necessarily believe that or disbelieve that that's the case right now, but that is something that we will continue to run down through the investigations. There's statements that always conflict each other, and there's always kinds of things that need to be tied up in an investigation, and that's the phase we're in right now. So right now, we only have one person charged.
I know why you guys can't say what he told detectives yet. There was a lot of talk earlier about his statements not matching, which was said in a police report. There were a lot of inconsistent statements and stuff. The statement that he's given now, is it a bit clearer? You don't have to say the details of that. I know you guys are still working, but is it clear?
I think we have a much better understanding of what happened. By far a lot more understanding after we talked to him. But at that point, that's about as much detail as I can give you on our conversation with him.
Do you think that, hearing from the community, this is a case we've seen the social media very, very present with a lot of comments and sometimes mispeculation and misinterpretation, misinformation, a lot of that being spread out there in social media, people saying he was found before he was even found. Do you guys wish maybe you would have communicated a little earlier about this case, or do you guys wish you would have had a press conference or something?
So there was nothing that we could have done in a press conference. We did a press release or a news release from the department, and our detective bureau did as well. And then our detective, our lieutenant in charge of the investigations, was on scene that day and actually gave an interview that day. There's nothing else that we could have done in a press conference. We gave out that information. We waited on the press release from the coroner. Those are different things that we do that give out details. A lot of times, and up until, he was arrested, there wasn't a lot of information we could put out. And so at that point, a press conference is not really going to accomplish anything. We were giving out as much information as we could. Social media is going to be social media, and people are always going to speculate and run with their own theories. And unfortunately, we can't control that. But the reality is, most things you read on social media, especially early, probably aren't even true.
Speaking of that and social media, is there any rumors right now regarding this case that you want to dispel right now that you can think of, like, hey, this is the fact?
I can't think of it. Well, I can't think of anything out there on social media right now. I try to avoid it as much as I can. So I don't have anything really right now that I would say, hey, stop listening to that because it's not true. And really, it's probably too early for us to even address some of those issues.
There is a lot of things going on in this case and a lot of details and things being looked at. We know that you guys are still investigating, but in terms of how long you think you guys are getting closer to the answer and closer to a conclusion, how long do you think this is going to take to play out?
Unfortunately, that's very hard to speculate. There is a lot involved in this case. Obviously, we're talking about 2 different cities being involved. We're talking about, we have a week of things that happened, right? So we are working the case as fast as we can. As I said before, I think we're in a really good place investigatively. And I think as soon as we can button everything up and run down every lead, last thing we want to do is be premature in our charges or premature in saying, this is the only suspect we have, we're good. We don't like to do that. We like to make sure we investigate everything out there. So when we do take this to trial, there is no room for doubt.
Speaking of that, you guys are reactionary, right? I mean, when there's trouble in the city, you guys are the ones called and you guys come in. But looking at this case and just looking in general, is there anything that the community can do with things like this or with situations like this that help prior to you guys having to come out and do something?
Oh, absolutely. So our community knows their neighborhood better than any police officer can possibly know it, right? So no matter how many hours we spend in the neighborhood, there's things that we will never hear or never see that other community members or family members are seeing. So if there's ever any doubt in anybody's minds about any, so let's take this case, right? So if you ever have any doubt that some child is being abused or something is just not right, then by all means notifying us or notifying CSB and getting the authorities involved early before it gets to this point. Because unfortunately with this case especially, once we were involved, it was already way too late for us.
I think my last question for you here is, the officers who responded to the scene and found the body, from what we've learned of the details, it might be a lot. And when we hear of cases like this of children involving children and children on the scene, that can be a lot to take in. Is there anything that you are doing for the officers right now to help them get through that, who were there on that scene?
We are. So over the last several years, we've really developed a wellness program that is kind of top notch. And we immediately have our peer support officers reaching out to those officers. Sometimes, depending on the situation, we'll do debriefings and bring in professionals to come talk. Our wellness coordinator, Sergeant Welling, is always contacting them and offering up services and to see if there's anything we can do. As an officer, we all deal with trauma in different ways. Some people like to talk, some people don't. But we're always looking out for those warning signs to make sure that we don't need to intervene.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to include at this time that you would like to mention about this case that I did not ask? Now's the time.
So the only thing I would add is, I'm extremely proud of our department. This case moved pretty quickly, and we were able to develop information and leads, and as sad as it is, recover her and bring some closure to the family, to the community. There's nothing worse than a missing that's still missing, and there's that hope out there. So I think our officers did an outstanding job. And I'll say it again, I think the Columbus officers, when we contacted them and asked for assistance, they did an outstanding job as well. And, we have two good police departments that are coordinating and communicating and working together to get to a conclusion, at least on this case.
Thanks for joining us for this special presentation here on WTOL 11 Plus. Stay with us here for continuing coverage of the.
Yeah, okay. The body cam was the most interesting part of all that. I feel like I didn't learn anything new from the police chief. I think he recapped, I guess from a police perspective, what happened, how the investigation went, how the calls go out. I don't know what the stipulations are, what you have to do, but keep in mind, I feel like based on what the grandmother says, she feels like she did everything she could. I don't understand why the police. So you heard him say, we weren't sure if this was like a runaway. I mean, that seems to be like a reoccurring theme with some of these cases, that you've got people who like low key slow drag the reporting or do things to make it more complicated. Like, Bible Lady, I saw your comment. Like, you come home from work, the house is in disarray, clothes are everywhere, glasses, phone, things that are like essential, um, are there and she's missing, that's a problem. So, sometimes if questions aren't asked, questions aren't answered. It could have been a deliberate slow drag. It could have been omission of information. It could have been, I was so nervous, I forgot to say, like, who knows? Unless we see what exactly happened. I'm just wondering, I mean, to your point, that's my point. To your point about them, an Amber Alert being necessary, I don't know if they felt like she was in imminent danger other than she's not home, she's missing. If someone's calling and saying she's not home, she's missing, then they're not going to do an Amber Alert versus my door's pushed in. It looks like something happened. This is not like her. I feel like someone came and took her. Also, she's she's almost 14. Do you see all the pictures that she put out to like the news? It's like, did you not have any more recent pictures? I felt like some of the pictures she was using, like, look, there's like a variety of pictures of this young lady, and she was going to be 14. Why do some of the pictures, which I guess sometimes using pictures when they're younger still gives you a good idea of what their face looks like, but some of the pictures that actually depict her at her actual real-time age, not to say she doesn't look like this, but it's like, I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, I think that part of the grandmother, I think part of some people who are like, oh, the grandmother, yeah, I like, where's the recent pictures? All these little cute pictures are cute and everything. Like, yeah, why are you giving 9 and 10-year-old pictures on a 13, 2 weeks away from being a 14-year-old, a young lady? I mean, from a little girl. 9 and 10-year-old pictures don't look like, I mean, obviously that's her, but we know kids change pretty rapidly. Thank you to our friend Danny Ray Harvey. Thank you so much for making it official. I appreciate you so much. Um, I'm not sure about Ohio, but California has other alerts for missing people. She would have been an ebony alert if she was missing but not confirmed kidnapped. Okay. So there's like levels to it. Girl, she was giving old ass pictures that I feel like, ma'am, you didn't have anything in your phone from last week. If somebody asked me for a picture of my daughter, I got pictures from today. You know what I mean? Like, I take pictures of her throughout the week, every week, at least once. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there's been a week to go by that I didn't take a picture, but I have recent pictures of my kid. You know what I'm saying? I got recent pictures of my husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, who doesn't have the technology that we all walk around with, make it almost like impossible to not just catch a quick one of yourself, a moment, um, your kids, oh, you look cute today. I mean, that's just weird. That's strange to me. Also, if you have her phone, you have her cloud, kids are snapping pictures of themselves, their little outfits of the day and all that stuff. Um, I can come up and discuss if you absolutely. I did find some information. You guys had some good questions earlier. Let me just say this about um Nesto and like scheduling and the procedure, like kind of why is it this and why is it that? I may have some answers. I may not have all the answers, but I did find some information I think is going to be helpful, but we'll talk about it tomorrow for sure. Um, hold on a second. Okay, Bible lady, check your inbox. Check your Instagram. I just dropped the link. Let me see. Justice for another Okay, somebody sent me. I guess there's like a report out here on Yahoo News about. Let's see. A couple of you guys just sent me some stuff in Instagram, so just bear with me. I'll take a look at it tonight, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll get caught up on some like the week's hot topics. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Let me stop looking at this because I'll click on it and then it doesn't have I like my box to stay unread. That way I can know like where I need to go next because you guys sent me a bunch of mail today, which is always good. I appreciate it. So now I'm going to go back through it and line it up. So, if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Yes. I dropped the link for you in Instagram, hun. Let's see. Oh, maybe I didn't see your theory that you dropped. Okay. Let me scroll back. I'm not sure about Ohio, but California. Okay. Thank you again to our friend. Okay, her grandmother comes home from work. The house is in disarray. Stove on. Baby girl's clothes on the floor. Was this the theory? There was an Amber Alert because if grandmother knew what was going on, if grandmother knew, she knew that man wasn't supposed to have unsupervised with that little girl, that he wasn't supposed to be alone with her. And then also, why do you have a nighttime job and you have a teenager there? Not to mention, I've also heard, which I've not been able to, I can't prove, so this is just gossip, and some of you guys might know from Facebook, is that they say she damn near had a boarding house going on. She had all kinds of nonsense going on at her house. And if she's not home all night and you're a minor that you're a guardian over and you have sex offenders, you have people with pasts that are questionable for a young lady to be around by herself when you're not home. I mean, I don't know what was going on over there at that house. And then the man, her father, her quote unquote, which we don't know if he's been, validated as the father, since she had been turned over to the grandmother as guardian. Allegedly, the mother, Tiara, is saying that the grandmother was trying to get her for child support. What about the father? So I don't know, unless the father was caking her off under the table and she didn't feel like she needed to go after the father. She's just going after the mother. So strange. Let me see. Bible Lady, did you get the link? Okay, okay. Hi, Bible Lady.
Hello, Fran.
Let's be clear, just in case anyone does not know, this is not the blogger from the YouTube streets. That's just the avatar for someone known to this side of the YouTube streets as Bible Lady. Is that
Right.
is that a fair depiction?
It's a spoof on the Bible Lady. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This has been a tough one for me because of my theory.
Okay, tell me your theory, because if you put it into the chat, maybe I missed it.
I didn't put it into the chat. My theory, and I'll start with talking about the pics. So, as you stated, the pictures are of a younger version of I can't. Why am I going blank on her name?
Kei'Mani.
Yeah, a younger version of Kei'Mani. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why that was happening until I saw her TikTok. I was like, that is not the same person. So I started listening to the interview you played yesterday with the grandmother, and she was just throwing around some key words, some key phrases. Like
Mhm.
she was a virgin. She
Mhm.
didn't like boys.
Mhm.
And I thought, why is that relevant? So I'm looking at her pictures, and then I hear the report from the officer about the hands. And it started coming to me. And I'm not sure if many of the audiences know, but I think you know that I am with the LGBT community. I'm a lesbian.
Mhm.
And I looked at this young lady's current pictures, and she has a tomboyish appeal about herself.
Mhm.
I noticed on,
What's her TikTok?
I don't know her TikTok. This was actually posted on someone's Facebook. It's on
Okay. So they
Facebook.
had some TikTok
They
clips.
had
Okay.
TikTok clips, yes.
Got it. Okay.
And someone mentioned on the comment that she was tomboyish, and members of her family were very irate at that comment. I'm sorry, I'm getting really
But they
emotional.
keep using it. I've heard them say it. I mean, to me, 13-year-olds, I don't expect them to be a beacon of sensuality. Let's be real. They're 13. So
Absolutely.
kids wear jeans, t-shirts, sweatshirts. Um, that's a time in kids' lives where if that you will see them dressing more alike, where you could see girls, not saying that girls don't wear dresses, but I think that in between period of like 10 to 14, even maybe up to 15, kids dress in jeans, sweats,
Right.
cargo, t-shirts, sweatshirts. Now girls might have on pink and they might have on purple. They might have on more feminine colors than the boys to a certain degree, but girls wear Jordans, they wear Crocs, they wear, you know what I'm saying? Like kids in that age group, it's almost like it's a unisex uniform that the kids wear. So I wouldn't, I don't know. I'm just an anti-label person for children.
Mhm.
And I don't get into that. Kids bloom and blossom around 15, 16 years old. But if I've heard tomboy once, twice, three times, it's been those people describing her.
Right. We're
The-
also living in a time where it's more acceptable, or it's more open, where our young
Like
people
a
are
lesbian, if she's
right. They're experimenting. They're open
um,
with their sexuality,
got it.
their curiosity, and that type of thing.
Yes. Okay.
My theory is what happened to her was used sort of as a form of punishment because of this. Me being a lesbian woman, or just a lesbian, I have to be very discreet when I'm out and about if I'm approached by a man, because of the fear of retaliation or rejection because of my sexuality. You follow me?
Mm. That they
And
take it as a
they take it personal, and they take it as a rejection, and sometimes there's a quote unquote point to prove, if you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to keep this YouTube clean.
You think there was some sort of she looks like just like a normal teenager to me, like a normal 13-year-olds. I don't expect to be me personally, I'm going to be honest. When I see a 13-year-old with their midriff, when I see them in tight clothes, you know, when I see them trying too hard, like when they're dressing a little too advanced, and I blame that on the parents because most 13-year-olds don't have jobs to buy their wardrobe. So I feel like she looks like a regular kid to me. Like whatever regular kid is, I'm not even talking sexuality. I'm just talking about a 13-year-old.
But for me, just again, this is just my opinion, my
Right.
theory.
Hmm.
What I see on a daily basis, I have friends who have teenage daughters this age that are curious, that are just straight up straight. I
Hmm.
see something different in
You
her
see a
manner.
young lady
I see a
who
young
may
lady who
feel
may be curious and who may be interested in girls and maybe even boys.
okay.
And the whole the thing with her hands. Why her hands?
Maybe to punish her for basketball?
No, my theory is to punish her for something else. And again, I'll try to keep it as clean as possible.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So what do you think they were trying to do?
I would think, and again, this is just my theory, the use of her hands instead of other things when it comes to quote unquote play.
Did
And
she do something with her hands and they're punishing
with the
her?
girl,
Okay.
and they punished her. He was probably talking crap to her, and it enraged him. And he's going to teach her a lesson. Again, this is just my theory. I could be totally wrong, but that's my theory. As gut wrenching and as heartbreaking as that is, I'm sorry. Again, because I'm part of the community and I've seen it, I've heard it, I've witnessed it.
I mean, what reminded me, so I had a thought, and it just reminded me, like, when you hear about, and I'm not trying to pick on anyone's country or culture, but in countries where they do the female genital mutilation,
Yes.
it reminded me of sometimes in India or in Pakistan where you've heard that maybe they have one too many female children, and it's just not working out, that they're going to be matched up with someone because arranged marriages still exist, and they kill females. They kill females. Like, it's femicide is real.
And in some countries, they even quote unquote circumcise them.
Yeah. So, it just made me think of that this week because I wasn't really sure. I almost felt she, like, I don't know what this guy's background is, Ogletree. I don't know. Hearing that she could possibly not be his daughter, I kind of believed it because she doesn't look like him. I mean, she's light skinned, but she doesn't look like him per se. And she don't even look like the lady, but I believe she says that she had her at the hospital. So I'm not going to get all deep into questioning if that's her kid or not, but he might not be the father. That could be messing with him because the grandmother said sometimes he says he's the father, sometimes he's not. I don't know if he's the father. I'm sure they're going to dispel that rumor with all the DNA that I'm sure they're pulling from him just to verify, yes, he is the biological.
And it's so ironic, Fran. I had a dear friend of mine who called me yesterday who has a daughter that's graduating high school. And she discovered by going through her phone that her daughter likes girls. And I'm thinking maybe they went to her phone. Something was discovered in her phone, because they put everything in their phones. Everything's in the phone. And it has really just bothered me to my soul.
Yeah, I feel like that is true. Homophobia like when it exists in someone's household, they may feel completely different from how they may react out in the world. That it's like, oh, okay, now I have to I don't know. I can't even put anything to it because I've never had that feeling before, but I just don't understand why now. I mean, she's 13, 14. She would have been 14 this week.
Something happened. Something happened recently.
Yeah.
Something happened recently. Something triggered that. Yes. And my girlfriend and I have been friends for almost 10 years, and she loves me to death. Was at the wedding, the whole nine. She accepts me. She loves me. When I got the call yesterday, it was, I found out blah, blah, blah. And I just don't know what to do. Oh, what do you mean you don't know what to do? I just can't handle this. You've handled me for 10 years. I told her the best thing that you can do for her is create a safe space for her. Create a safe space for her and talk to her. Because the last thing you want to do is to excuse me, I'm sorry. The last thing you want to do is shut her out and have her run into the wrong arms and have harm come to her because she can't come to you.
Right. Just accept her for who she is. The best, I think, is take it one day at a time. You're not, I think for some parents it's the crash. I don't want to say crash and burn, but sometimes people have a vision of what they think their life is going to be, right? And they put that vision off on their kids, right?
Absolutely.
But all of us have had to deal with, most of us have had to deal with what we thought was going to be when we were 10 or 25 doesn't necessarily pan out, right? Like we've all dealt with that. So she needs to apply that same logic with, I thought I was going to be a doctor, I became a nurse. I thought I was going to be a lawyer and I'm in business or whatever. You know what I mean? Like life changes and you have a vision for your daughter and the vision may have changed a little bit or the dynamics of the vision change, but that's okay because that is her life to live. You gave her her life, but it's not your right to put your emphasis on it. You have to let that go. As a parent, we have to realize really early, and I know for some people it takes them a while, but a friend of mine, like becoming a mother, and a friend of mine who was a mother at the time said to me, she's like, she's her own person. And that was like at 6 months when I was kind of like, I don't want her to go over to anybody's house. So I was like, you got to let her experience other people. It's okay. She's going to be okay. She's going to be safe. You know what I mean? Because we've always been really close to us. And that's whatever. So anyway, but she is her own human. And I feel like that gave me a lot of freedom, allowing that to be in place as a mother, knowing that I might say this and she might say that, but that's okay because I was able to make decisions within my parents' guidelines. So I let her make decisions within guidelines, So I wish your friend, the best with dealing with her new reality.
We're getting there.
Her daughter is her own person. Her daughter is her own you don't have to accept anything. Just accept your daughter as being her own person. Right?
And we created the safe space for her daughter as well. We all talked yesterday, and her daughter knows to call me or come to me if she has any issues, if she feels like she can't talk to mom. So I'll be like the mediator between the two. I have my own daughter who's now 27, who came to me when she was 8 years old and told me that she liked girls.
Okay.
So been there, done that. She's 27. She has a career. She's healthy. She's great.
So you think when you saw the pictures that Dorothy put out about young Kei'Mani, that I felt like immediately it made me feel like it was a slow drag on, do you really not want her identified? Because
right. Like, what are you hiding?
13 here. In this picture on the screen, ma'am,
she's like 7, 8. Like,
ma'am looks like a 13-year-old right here. She looks, this is who you would be looking for.
Right.
The other pictures with her hair parted in pigtails and looking,
we could have walked right by her and would have known.
Right. They weren't giving out accurate time appropriate pictures, which I thought was absolutely nuts. So that was weird.
Because she is hiding something. The grandmother is hiding something. She could have been venting to this guy about, she's not coming home, or she's doing this and she's fast. She's with these girls. She's got this going on her phone. Can you talk to her? You know what I mean? I just have theories running through my mind.
Do you think, I don't know if he's the biological dad or not. Like the fact that a man is questioning if a kid is his makes me think, well, maybe that's not his kid. Because most men feel like they know their own, not to mention they'll look like someone in the family type thing. So I don't know. Maybe, do you think she tried to offer her up and say, can you
I don't know if she per
what
se
you can
offered
do?
her. I don't think she tried to offer her up. I think she just used him as someone to vent to, that who could maybe he could talk to her, since her mother wasn't available or her mother wasn't in her life. Maybe it was someone who she just talked to about it or vented to about it. And I'll take care of it. I'll talk to her. I'll
Mm.
get her straight. I'll get her right.
But they say that he might have R-worded her. He may have
Yes. Again, that goes back to what I said earlier about myself. When I go out, I'm very feminine, right? So when I go out, I'm dressed. A guy approaches me, and this has happened so often in our community, but it's not really talked about. I go out to a club or to a bar, to a restaurant, a guy approaches me, and it's happened before. I'm not interested. And if they even think, or if they see me talking to another woman, oh, you're gay. And then the conversation and the energy turns really quickly. Oh, I can fix that. Oh, I can change you. You get some of this and you won't be gay long. Yeah, it's that type of energy.
Well, and I feel like we all get that, because when and I'm sure your experience may be magnified because you're
Mhm.
also dealing with someone who may have some anger issues and may also have some hate and disdain for women, and particularly lesbians. But there are some men, unfortunately, who just don't take a let down easy and act.
Exactly.
So just in general, as an attractive female, or just a female in general, when they want to say something, less than whatever that they should, just, like when they're like, hey, you're attractive. Can I have your number? You have somebody, or, whatever they say, type thing. And then you kind of rebuff them and then they get upset. Um, so do you think that this was on, I got the gist that what was going on with Kei'Mani was going on with Kei'Mani. Like I didn't get the gist that this was the first time. Like it made me think that potentially she had been being abused. Um, or based on what you've heard, did you think that this was a assault that went an assault that was intended to be violent and be deadly? Or was this
I think he probably snapped. I think he lost control. I think she may have mouthed off at him. In the way
maybe she's
that
old enough to push back and say, I don't want this anymore?
I don't
Maybe
want this
she's
anymore, or he could have been coming at her from the whole, so you like girls, and and she was like, and yeah, so what? It could have escalated from there.
I just think it's really weird that there's something about this 13 going on 14 time period for young ladies who have been dealing with this situation, um, that we've seen in the last year, like girls right at 13, right at
Mhm.
14,
She,
when maybe they're able to actually,
they can
maybe
push
they're
back. Their bodies are changing. They're getting their cycles. There's a potential possibility of becoming pregnant.
and they're getting the courage to maybe tell their story,
Right.
like Madeline Soto could
Mhm.
have possibly been pregnant. We're not sure if she was pregnant. That'll come out, I'm sure, in the trial. They said that uh Naziah Harris pregnant.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about this young lady. I'm not trying to infer that at all, but we don't know what was
Right.
going on. Was this an ongoing situation, or was this like the first and last violent attack?
Mhm.
Um,
They're getting their voice, like you said.
mhm.
They're pushing back. It could be a number of things.
It's awful. It's awful, but you know, I really do think that these are stories that need to be talked about, even
I
though as hard as
totally
they
agree.
are. First of
Mhm.
all, I think a lot of shame and the ability to be able to abuse people rest in the place where I don't want to talk about that, or that's
Right.
not something good to talk about, or why don't you just leave people alone? I get a lot of people in my comments who are like, I can't believe you're talking about this. That's tearing down Black women, or that's tearing down this, or that's you shouldn't talk about that kind of stuff. Why don't you just lift people? There are a lot of stories that need to be told. There's a lot of stuff
I
that doesn't
agree.
get talked about, brushed under the table, normalized through dysfunction. And people need to know that shit ain't right,
It's
or
not.
that's not appropriate. That's not something
Mhm.
that you should be doing. That is bad karma. Um, the you know, it's weird that people have normalized dysfunction to the point where they almost feel like it's etiquette or some sort of like taste. It's
Mhm.
not normal for people to be putting children in the place of grown women, buying them grown women clothes, and then giving them mixed messages and chastising them, not giving them appropriate parenting, not giving them appropriate um, boundaries and safety and people, you know, protecting them from bad people, but then parading them around. I mean, we could go back all the way 20 years ago to Jean Benet Ramsey, like
Yes.
weird stuff.
The
Lots of
pageants and the
weird.
dressing
Yeah.
up
I
and the
mean,
makeup. I agree.
and I think pageants are okay for people who know how to manage and level set that, but the people who let their kids walk around pageant ready every day, that's just not what you do. Pageant is a pageant. It's like a costume. That's not how children should dress with big hair and makeup and lashes, and it's
And I
it's
also
weird.
think it's the system that's failing the kids as well, because if they're getting reports that these things are happening and these predators are not being dealt with, and the system is just washing their hands of it, so the predator continues because there's no
Right.
repercussions. There's nothing.
Yeah, they're getting an easy pass. Like
A very
um
easy pass.
there's the sexual predators who, when they approach them, I don't know if people just don't want to believe that things are happening, that a adult male could do such a thing. I wonder if it's like you must suspend disbelief, like forget how you were raised, forget what you think, go on what these people are telling you, that there's something happening,
And what they are
especially with
seeing
these
and reporting.
stepmothers
Yes.
too. And it's no indictment on stepmothers. I'm speaking specifically about women who are put in a position to mother a child that is not biologically
I
theirs,
told
and they have a resentment towards the child. And
him.
also in the same vein, men who are put in a position to father or be in a household with children that are not biologically theirs. Um, the shenanigans that start to occur, like people really, and you they call CPS, and you know, you've got teachers who are reporting to CPS, you've got neighbors and friends, and then the CPS workers get there and it's like, oh, we didn't see anything, or there was nothing abnormal, and then you've got you know,
I
you've
think
got what we've seen.
we should start backtracking, holding these CPS workers accountable, and I think we'll see a difference. Go after these people. Go after them.
I feel like CPS reports should be merged to a police report. Like when they close it out, and I know that that's a whole nother probably, you know, two or three add-ons to
Or
staff,
different task
but
force.
there should be some sort of add-on of a police unit that is specifically for children, like juvenile or whatever. Um, that can review these case reports to see, is there further intervention that needs to be had by law enforcement to come out. Like when we saw those reports for Naziah Harris, and they said that there was something that happened at the birthday party, and that this known sex offender did something, and both girls described a situation, and they said that there was no preponderance of evidence and they just let it ride. Then she became socialized into probably either someone convinced her that what was occurring was okay,
What's normal?
and they turned a blind eye to a relationship occurring that was very inappropriate. And then you would be mad because in that report, if you remember on that episode, like when we read the report, towards the bottom, it said something like, and so or Naziah or somebody got whooped, instead of talking to them about, so you send your kid off with the sexual predator, and then you get mad when they're not happy about what's going on, which they shouldn't be. They say something to someone, or someone says something, and then you find out and then you whoop them. Like, this is crazy. So it had to be Annette or Shannon or somebody. So that was crazy. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. But I don't know. You hear
signals to the kids.
Right. They tell the kids to say everything is okay. And I think in this case with Kei'Mani, she had a situation where they called and she was told to say everything was okay. And even so, if you went back and listened to the grandmother's interview, she said, when they asked her about CPS, she said, this time, or the most, which time, the most recent, like, I mean, most of us will never, ever have CPS come to our doors. Most people will never have a CPS case. This
And why
lady's
did
over
they
here.
come? Why? Why were they there initially? Why?
What was the complaint? Exactly. I would love to not to, and then, okay, on top of that, the daughter's sitting there talking about the actual, I don't know if that's her blood or not. The young lady who identified herself as Tiara's sister and Dorothy's daughter from Indianapolis. Yes. Because the dynamics there are strange. We don't know who these kids are, who these people actually really belong to. But the woman who says she's her daughter said they had been in the system.
Exactly.
So how does a woman who's had kids placed in the system got her daughter
her granddaughter?
They had her daughter looked at as unfit, and then goes to someone who you heard her say, that used to be my best friend.
Is that the godmother who had custody, who also has a rap sheet?
Girl, Dorothy has a rap sheet. This is a bunch of,
I can't.
This is a bunch of really, it's like scraping the bottom of the barrel, like all kinds of stuff. I mean, I could start listing stuff, but just, more so petty, but 10, 12 different run-ins on crimes. Like, nothing too major, but definitely had her troubles and have probably had to spend a cute coin getting herself out of trouble, but enough that she's definitely built up a portfolio of what looks like a woman who is not the best candidate to be a foster mother. In my opinion, I would think that they would need to have a clear background.
I agree.
And even a clear background is, you never know what people have done. They just haven't been caught yet. But at least if it's clear, there's nothing that's been documented, right?
And why were her kids taken from her? Why were her kids in the system?
Wait, someone's asking, who is this on the screen? Who is this? Who is in the picture on the screen? Are you talking about this picture? Hold on. This picture, that's Kei'Mani. That's the person, the name on the title of the video. This is a young lady who was killed by her father, allegedly. I mean, I think they said that he's admitted to it, but that is Kei'Mani Latigue, if that's the picture you're talking about. Okay. Um yeah. So you think that there was some homophobic violence that happened. So in a
My
nutshell,
theory,
you
yes.
think that Dorothy and Darnell were grappling with Kei'Mani's
Kimani.
sexuality, and this was some sort of punishment, some sort of
Yeah,
weird
I do.
whatever they were do.
I do. I honestly do. I would love, love, love for the detectives to extract Dorothy's phone, Kimani's phone, his phone, just to get the messages, just to see. I think a lot of the answers lie within those phones.
Okay, so let's take it a step further. So you're thinking this could have been like a femicide hate crime type situation. Like this was fueled also by homophobia. So this was like somewhat of it, because that would be a hate crime.
It's possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm watching your daughter.
And that
She's
that
not
would make it
focusing.
federal.
She's
Mhm.
not focusing. She's hanging out with this little girl. Can you talk to her? Can you do something with her?
Aren't you getting paid to be a parent? Aren't you getting, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, she's
sis,
getting paid, but not paid to be a parent.
you've raised all these humans. I'm gonna just say all these humans were outside cussing your ass out.
Exactly.
You don't know how to handle business with a 13-year-old. You need a incompetent man who says he's the father, says he's not the father. Like you need some sort of
She's
confused
grimy.
man.
I get very grimy from her,
Mhm.
so
Oh yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I mean, they could have seen it as a threat, and I mean, yeah, they could have seen not a threat, like there's something threatening, but she may have felt threatened, um, with having to deal with, Kei'Mani being herself,
Right.
and not the self that she planned for her to be.
Mhm.
So, I mean, look, I don't disbelieve that. I mean, I think it's definitely possible. I think it's definitely possible because it's weird. All of a sudden, you picked like, what happened for you to do such a violent act against this young lady? Like, what
Exactly.
happened?
Yeah,
Like, if you
that
were,
was beyond just an essay.
mhm,
It was
yeah,
beyond that.
mhm,
That was
mhm.
gruesome. That was extremely personal. It, mm,
Yeah, I mean, he also cut her neck.
right.
He did her in. He
Hmm.
did her in and then torched the place.
Yes. She was 13. What? Why would you even?
And she was happy. I mean, when I see these kids TikTok dancing, when you see little kids social media and they're happy, they love to do these dances. She wasn't doing anything wrong. She
At
seemed to be a
all.
happy kid. She's
Mhm.
doing her little TikTok. They say she's active in sports. She seemed to be a good student. She had developed a life for herself. And what was the problem? Like, what was she doing to anybody?
So
She's yeah.
I read or heard on one of the posts where when I was talking about, the grandmother came home, the house was in disarray. She comes home and her pajamas are on the floor.
Right.
Why are her pajamas on the floor?
And
So did
where?
she
Like
change
in the
clothes?
living room, in the
In the
kitchen,
living
or in
room.
her
In the
bedroom?
living room, I think. I
Right,
think it was in the
right.
living room. Why would she have so she changed clothes, left her glasses that she cannot see without. It just doesn't make sense. And you call the school?
She's like I said, she's slow dry. She did Nanette She did. So I was listening to a police detective, and they were talking about homicides and things like that, and how the kind of the nature of how they find out sometimes about some of the crimes that happen sometimes are like serious red flags, and the slow dragging, the misinformation. In this case, we saw old pictures. We saw like an 8, 9, 10-year-old, and this girl is I mean, I don't know how tall she was, but it's giving 5'6", 5'7", like tall young
Yes.
lady. You know what I'm saying? She has
Mhm.
full grown hair. She's got it up in a puff or out in loose curls.
Mhm.
You were not giving pictures that could have let people know exactly what they were looking for.
Right. Because
It was it
we
was
could
the
have walked right by
derivative.
it.
Yeah, you were giving us the little girl version, and kids change every couple of years, like, their faces change, they start to get older, sometimes just from one summer to the next, their faces can completely they still look the same, but they're starting to get more of their adult features are coming in, and they're losing their baby face and stuff like that. Like, the pictures that she gave were absolutely ridiculous.
Those pictures were very deceiving.
Yeah, they were super cute. She's a pretty little girl, but that was not the the time frame of what this young lady looked like when she went missing.
Right. If I were in the city looking for this young lady, I would have been looking for the little pigtails.
Yeah, this looks like it's an accurate teenager.
Right.
She's a tween. And I feel like she's even more than a tween because she was approaching 14. That's high school. So she
Mhm.
was in high school next year. There's just a big difference. I go to middle school every single day. When I see the 6th graders to the 8th graders, it's a difference.
Yeah.
It's like I remember, how you or just 5th graders to 8th graders. The kids are so tiny in the 6th grade, and then by 8th grade, some of them have grown 6 inches.
Mhm.
They're more developed. They're doing their hair a little bit more sophisticated. There's a difference
Th
between 6 and 8, 8th
There's a
grade.
change. There's a
And then
shift.
the 8th graders, by the end of the year, they're getting ready to go to high school. Now, when they get to high school and you see a 9th grader next to a senior, it's gonna be another huge difference. But yes, I think that Dorothy was being very deceptive by giving those old ass pictures.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
She needs to answer some
Absolutely.
questions about that because that's ridiculous. And she didn't want her to be found because there wasn't any need for her to be found because they already knew that I'm sure they probably already knew she had passed.
And I think one of the police officers or detectives pretty much alluded to that. He made that statement, or was it the
I think it
mayor
was
or
mayor
someone?
the mayor of the
Yes.
city, yeah.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
there was some inkling that foul play had already
Occurred.
there had already
Mhm.
been yeah, there had already been foul play and that yeah. I hate to hear that, but I think it's an interesting take, um, on what could have happened because it could be some sort of hate, homophobia, hyper male was it male toxicity
Male
or
toxicity. Yeah.
yeah, masculine toxicity,
Mhm.
jerk reaction, violent knee-jerk reaction to
Oh,
you know,
it just oh,
it's
I can
definitely a
just
possibility. I'm not gonna say like, you know what, that's far-fetched. It's quite possible because they seem ignorant and I'm, like painfully ignorant
right.
and felt like that was some sort of a threat. But what social standing, like what was the threat? Like what is it's not like these people are some sort of high society people that they really but I mean, not saying that you have to be
And
but like what
maybe
was
not, I'm sorry, but maybe not even a threat, just the fact. Just think about it. I know when we were younger, we were coming up, our parents would say, um, you got your head, your head's not really where it's supposed to be. You're focused on, you know, going out, or you're focused on hanging with your friends, or you got your mind on that little boy. you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? It could have been that instead of a quote unquote threat.
Okay, so maybe not necessarily like girl crazy, boy crazy, but I mean, I don't know, but how would his remedy was I don't the actions I see the actions possibly some sort of like hate obviously there was some sort of hate or some sort of
I don't think
he
he
was
was
very
emotionally
violent
stable
towards her.
anyway. He
Yeah,
wasn't very stable anyway, because if you look at his Facebook page, some of his posts were just
he's weird.
he's very weird. Like I think there was one post that he put for 2019, he was talking about how he was dealing with certain things in his mind, and it wasn't financial or anything like that. It's just his mind. It's just really things are just really messing with him in his mind, and he's thinking about things that he shouldn't be thinking about. Well, what, sir? Excuse me?
Mm. Now, I did see some of that. I didn't watch the whole thing. But let me see. I just found something else. This is like a longer form version. Let me see if this is all that. Okay, hold on a second. Let me pull this up.
He was crying, just weird.
I saw that. It's like a 9-minute video.
Mhm.
This seems to be the house on fire. I'll turn the and it got increasingly worse over time. This scene right here. When they were outside, this is when you see look how she just stepped up to a lot of masculine and like,
Mhm.
the I
They don't like each other at all.
they don't like each other. They're mean, they're
They're
aggressive,
nasty.
very
Yes.
aggressive, nasty women.
Mhm.
And I don't, I mean, even if Kei'Mani was tomboyish, I didn't see any refined females in that family. That not,
None.
yeah, I mean, and these were all heterosexual females. So,
You got the mother
allegedly,
standing on one side, the grandmother standing on one side, and they're all just barking at each other.
nasty. Let's see what
Mhm.
look at
Y'all keep talking about her.
She stepped up
Silver.
like,
Isn't it fun? We're getting to know the newscasters now. That's little Silver from from KTOL. She's the one that interviewed Dorothy and the sister.
Is that the baby in there?
But why is she
That's the mom.
Fuck her.
okay?
They must be in that room.
Oh, because they had the cameras and things set up there. Can I ask you a question? Let me see what you think. You want to hide a body, and
who,
you
me?
go to you want to hide a body, and you go to a vacant house on a corner. The stance that she just took with this man was very like, my God. Um, these are not these. I don't know who was involved, but it's girl, it's a mess. And then Darnell's very depressed. He's telling the police officer he wants to die. Um, I think he wanted to do, unalive by cops.
Suicide by cops.
Yeah.
Mhm. I didn't see I didn't see the actual body cam footage.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't catch her live. No, at the beginning.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and see that.
Okay. Okay, good. I would show this, but this is like an hour. If you guys want me to show this, I will. I don't know. It's just I'm gonna share it on my Facebook. Or maybe we can look at this tomorrow. But this is more of that scene. Obviously, someone's out there.
Just a mess.
I'm gonna share it on my Facebook page, so I'll share her video. Why would you? I don't know. I just think this is strange. And then they say that there is an overabundance of abandoned buildings. that abandoned buildings is like a problem. That's another thing, and they're finding. So this is the deal. Did you guys hear this? So when they found Kei'Mani's body, so there was a search party looking for a young man who was missing. Can we just talk about how distressing it is to hear so many young people are missing, to where people have to get together and go looking in abandoned buildings like they're looking for bodies at this point? Or this is awful.
Horrible.
This is awful. Like, so the search party was out looking for a young man, and they went into the abandoned building, and that's who found Kei'Mani.
That's what,
That's what I heard.
I'm literally shaking every time I hear the story or talk about it. The tragedy of it all.
It's
It
very,
wasn't
very
enough
sad.
that he unalived her, but the gruesome way he did it.
He's gonna have to, look. He may decide to admit it. We don't know if he's gonna confess. Like, if he's gonna give a full confession. According to Dorothy, she said that he admitted to some things. I don't know. In that video, she said that he admitted to doing a couple of things.
I'm just annoyed with her. I'm so annoyed with her. What
She's
is it
awful.
with her in these text messages? The $4,000 ransom?
Girl, I wonder, are they still talking? Like, is she certified nuts, or are they just kind of like, well, she's something's wrong with her, so we're not gonna even talk about that anymore? Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Did they board up Dorothy's house? Grandmother's house really is bored. So, Facebook, girl. Facebook has everything.
Right.
Facebook is basically Main Street. Okay.
That's how I was able to find the most recent or current pictures of Kei'Mani.
So she boarded up her front door. Like, people can't throw a brick through the window, but I'm just saying. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, what's the boarding up the door gonna do when you've got perfectly good windows? Okay. If somebody were so inclined, I'm not saying that that's the pathway. I'm just saying that that's just like.
But
that
there has
makes
to
me
be
sense.
another door because she has to exit somehow.
Oh, I wonder if she's still staying there, or did she vacate for a bit? Like, I wonder, is that her house, or is that has she been? It seemed like Kei'Mani had been there for a long time. Girl, I don't even know. Okay, let me see. Dorothy Latigue, text messages. Let me see. Girl, this was a joke. Okay. I don't even understand this. Okay, so Dorothy. Yeah, so guys, if you hadn't heard all of this, okay, there were some text messages. I'm gonna have to try to clean this up a little bit because it shows a phone number, so you'll just have to trust me on this. I will share all of these pages on my Facebook page, so you guys can just go right to it. But a phone number will get me flagged, so I don't want to show the phone number. But so look at all this. This is all from the same person.
Can I just say one other thing, Fran?
Sure.
And I've always wanted to say this. If you are new here, please hit the like and subscribe button.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, so you're missing Dre. Dre, if you're out there, honk honk. Okay. And call your buddy Nesto. Nesto needs a friend. He's going crazy talking to Miss Sonia. So hit your friend up.
And not just that, Fran works really hard and she's diligent about her work.
Oh, thank
So
you.
please give her a like, subscribe to the channel, and set your notifications.
Absolutely. If you're new here, Describe is a inside joke from the Ernest Williams content. So you miss Uncle Dre. Well, I bet you, I'm just gonna say this and just I can't I'm just gonna say you'll be hearing from Dre soon. That's all I'm gonna say.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm here. This is about business. If you respect my amount, I will return it to you right now. What? That's right. Here I'm asking for the amount of $4,000. This is business you can have with me. So tell me if you are interested in reaching an agreement with me, or I will take her to the border. So basically, Annette was trying to run with some sort of situation, basically
Annette?
stating that people were, excuse me, Dorothy,
Oh, so wait, did we go to a good
Annette
place?
of Ohio, Miss, aka Dorothy. My bad. Um, so Dorothy was trying to run with some sort of theory that people were texting her for ransom regarding Kei'Mani. Um, this is weird because these are all text. This is kind of like I can only I'm gonna advance to the next picture. I just want to make sure it's not showing a phone number. I just don't understand. Kei'Mani is fine. Okay, give me your location. I need to talk to her, please. Who is in charge of the situation? Like, where is she dumb? Is she that dumb?
Yes, has to be. And are the cops, are they looking into this? Like, where are we with this?
They've got to be.
Have to.
I need for you to put some bullet points together, and I need for you to get that right over to the Toledo police chief that was in the news report. He needs your bullet points. You have some interesting bullet points. I mean, all jokes aside, I am saying it to be funny, but I'm also not saying it to be funny. Sometimes, I mean, look, the internet is unmatched, and sometimes people who are close to a situation, even law enforcement, don't always see what the internet sees. And us true crimers out here have are do see things that look traditional law enforcement does not.
Absolutely. It's been proven.
It's been proven time after time after time. So I think you've got some good points, and it's no big deal to go, you know how they say let us hear from you or contact us? That's one of those contact us emails that you could send. I mean, at least you know you put it in the wind, you put it in the universe for someone to see it and like, that's interesting. We didn't think of that.
Right.
You know?
Are you saying me personally?
Yes,
Oh,
I am.
yeah. You know
It
what? I
doesn't
think I
take
will do
anything to
that.
just like boom, 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 boom.
I have been pondering with this for days.
And you called me, and guess what? Sis said, "What are you waiting for? Go ahead and put it in a note and get on one of their forms." I mean, you could even send it to the public information officer. I mean, you could put it in a contact me. You know how every station has a contact me or whatever email. But there's usually a PIO or public information officer or media officer. Um, and I would send it to 2 or 3 emails just to make sure somebody gets it.
Someone gets it.
Right,
Yeah.
because you know, the detectives, they get a lot of weird shit, so, it could be passed on to a detective, or you could send it directly, you know, sometimes on Twitter. They have a Twitter, you know, they'll have Twitter accounts or they have a Facebook account, but me personally, if I'm trying to get an answer, I usually go 2, 3 sources. I email everybody, and eventually someone's gonna get back to me. Maybe not everybody, you know, but I'll do at least
Someone.
2, 3 to try to get an answer.
I think I will. I have time tomorrow. I have time.
Yeah,
I'll make
'cause you
time.
have a lot
Yeah.
of ideas, and I think, and also these ridiculous text messages, like, it's not to I mean, what was the point in even putting this out here to throw again, if you're gonna talk about throwing off the case, Number one, this woman has given bogus pictures. She gave us bogus pictures that were not valid for the time period. She gave dated pictures. That's something that would impede the
That's number
investigation.
one.
You've got these fukaka text messages. What the fuck is this about? Okay.
You have surpassed Fugazi. It is Fukaka now.
Fukaka. Then you come home and the young girl's clothes are on the floor. It looks like something happened.
And the stove was on.
The stove was on. And what did she do? Who did she call?
The school.
Oh, she called the school. Yeah. She didn't call the police.
Yeah.
And then you heard that she wasn't at school. So what did she do next? Then she called the police, or did she get in her car and drive somewhere? What did she do next?
She went to the grocery store. No.
She
went
called
to the
Darnell.
Waffle House.
She called Darnell. She called the perpetrator.
Oh,
She's trash.
she is.
She's trash. She's straight trash.
Mm.
Yes, she was misleading. Thank you for giving us the word. Yes, grandmother was misleading her own hostage negotiations. Yes, she was leading her own hostage negotiation. She was, okay?
$4,000.
Ooh, girl. Okay. I don't know what that is. Then there's the pictures. iMessage blue bubbles. Okay, the internet, you guys are so funny. Messages you send will appear as a blue bubble on iPhone if using iMessage on your screen, and the message you receive from yourself will appear in a gray bubble. I don't even pay attention. Let me look at a text. Cuz I don't sit and text myself, so I don't know. All right. I've never really paid attention. Okay, it is blue. Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at it. My answers are blue, and the person who is texting me are, like a gray out. Okay. If you're using iMessage, the default messaging app in iPhone, the messages you send will appear as a blue bubble.
Well, what about if you send it to yourself? Does it give a color description?
Let me see. Let me text myself and see what happens. Now, so I have texted myself like a link to something, but I never paid attention. Okay, hold on. Oh,
And what
girl.
if she has a Google Voice number?
Can you text to that?
I don't know. Because I know for my work, I use my personal phone. I have an Android, but I also have a Google Voice number that I use so that if I make outgoing calls, it's my Google Voice number. And if they call me back, it's my Google Voice number. It's not my cell phone number.
If I text me, the text I send is blue, and when it's received, it's in gray. But I don't know. But that's me texting me. I don't know how when crazy people do stuff, sometimes I don't want to try to too hard to understand, because I don't want that logic seeping into my brain.
We don't think crazy, so it doesn't make
Right.
sense
So
to us.
right. It's hard sometimes to create some sort of sense out of nonsense. It's not always going to work. Okay, SMS. If the message is in regular SMS text and the message you send will appear in a green bubble, this person went and did the research, because just to try to figure, to try to make it make sense. My grandmother, who is her guardian, said, hold on. Came home from work, the door was unlocked. So the door was unlocked, clothes were on the floor, the stove was on, glasses and a phone, and you didn't think to call the police. What did she do again? She called the school.
Right.
Well, how would she be at school with no glasses, no phone, and she's a latchkey kid?
That goes back to the entire whole Amber Alert thing. He said basically the way it was presented to us, it wasn't an Amber Alert situation.
Right.
So she didn't make it seem as though when she made the report, it wasn't urgent. It wasn't, oh my God, she's gone. She's not here. She's just, I don't know where
Right.
she is. It's well, I came home and her stuff is still here. Maybe she could be out. I don't know.
Why? So why are you?
No
Why,
urgency.
why are you calling us? Why am I here? That's as an officer, I'd be like, why am I here? So you're saying is finding clothes on the floor in the living room normal? Is it normal for the door to be unlocked? And is it
And the
normal
stove
for
to
the
be
stove to
on
be
and her
on?
glasses to be still here and she can't see without them.
So this is not an emergency. Is that what you're saying? Like I would have had to flip it on her. Like, why am I here? Maybe, sometimes some of these people who call to use the police as like some sort of alibi need to have a good
Mm.
old fashioned flip on them. Like stop
Mhm.
taking the call, stop taking these stupid ass stories on face and just ask them, okay, so you just want me to you just want us to file this? And then so she's not missing, but you're doing a search party. You're walking up and down the street. You're going door to door looking for the child that you are guardian over, but you did not make it seem urgent to the police where they needed a Amber Alert. Like it
Right.
just doesn't.
It doesn't make
To
sense.
me, giving there's more to the story.
She's very
I feel
safe.
like they're looking into it. This story is so highly visible, and so many people are so outraged, and I guess it makes them feel this is a threatening type situation because nobody wants this in their city, and people don't want kids to have to feel stressed and scared. The saddest thing is if you see there's some coverage where they went to the school and they were talking to some students.
Mhm.
These kids are so young. The way they were talking about the way they miss Kei'Mani, it was,
Mm.
it was truly like kids talking, and it's sad. I think people feel a way about kids being um the kids don't need to go through this. This is not what life is supposed to be like for them. Having a friend missing and dead,
Right.
and then having to watch these news stories to hear about it.
I'm spent.
Yeah, they said nobody in Toledo is letting this go. So they
Good.
have a lot
Good.
of questions to answer, and maybe they can make themselves the model city to say, you know what, we're not going to allow this to happen. We want, I don't know.
We want everyone responsible held accountable because I feel like the grandmother has a hand in this somehow. If it's just covering up, she has a hand in this.
So they're saying she didn't meet the fourth criteria for the Amber Alert. Let me see. Amber Alert criteria. Amber Alert criteria. Let's see. Guidelines for issuing an Amber Alert. Because she didn't say she was abducted. There is a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. Law enforcement agencies believe that the child is in imminent danger or serious bodily injury or harm. There is enough descriptive information about the victim and the abduction for law enforcement to issue an Amber Alert to assist in the recovery of the child. The abduction of the child aged 17 years or younger, the child's name and other critical data elements, including a child abduction flag, have been entered into the National Crime Information Center. Yet because they were with
because she didn't
all that.
present it as an abduction.
Well, also they wanted to not be in jail. And all of this is
if I come home and my door is unlocked and my daughter is not here, the stove is on, and her pajamas are on the floor, the first friggin' thing I will think is that she has been taken.
Girl, I'm running out the house. First of all,
I'm acting a fool.
I'm going to be like, oh my God. and I'm gonna stand outside and I'm gonna call the police. I'm not going to any other room. I would be
I'm not
scared,
calling
I'm
the
gonna be
school
honest.
because I know she did not go to school and leave her pajamas in the floor, the stove on, and her glasses and her phone here.
Okay.
There's no way.
Yeah, I would be outside. I would have ran right back outside because I'm not sure if someone's getting ready to try to come from behind something and blow my head off.
Right.
I'm going to go outside and call the police immediately and get them here in however many seconds it takes them to get here, less than 60 seconds
They're
or
going to get here in
minute.
2.5 white lady
Right.
seconds. Sorry.
Exactly. Exactly. And they're going to walk the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna call my husband and be like, "Oh my God." Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. You know, the first thing I do, I probably shouldn't say this, but the first thing I do when I come in the house, because I normally come in through I could usually come in a certain way. I don't want to tell too much my business.
Mhm.
Come in the house a certain way. And then of course the dogs are immediately like with
Mommy's home.
and I look at the back door. I immediately look at the back door.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure, like, cause sis getting ready to be out the house. We getting ready to I'm gonna take 10 steps backwards in a second. If
I
for
did that before. I lived in Atlanta at the time and came home through the garage, pulled the car in the garage, opened the door, and the back door was kicked in. I politely but very swiftly backed out, got in my car, and pulled out of the garage and called 911.
because you never know who's in the pantry. Someone could be in the pantry just
Why
waiting.
not?
Oh, you can't so yeah. But you know, the dogs being on the loose is pretty much like an indicator that everything is okay. But yeah, you have to be, you know, you have to do your routine security checks when you come home. And if something is weird, it's weird for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are the criteria, guys, for a and I'm on amberalert.ojp.gov. So I don't know what website this is, but it's the Amber Alert, the Department of Justice. Uh, Amber Alerts active. Oh, and they have active Amber Alerts. You can actually click and see what's going on. And it takes you also to the missing and exploited children's website. Yes. So this is serious business. I also think that these people, Dorothy and Darnell and whatever they had going on, this criteria, I think they didn't have their lie straight yet.
Mm-hmm.
This is some serious criteria that I don't think that they were ready to activate because they were with the shits.
Yep.
You know, they called law enforcement, they reported her missing, but then they gave a little shadow of a doubt that maybe she was over to her, you know, out doing whatever she's doing. Um, I don't think they wanted to ring the loudest alarm because girl FBI would have probably been over there and they would have been in their shit in 2.5 seconds because you know that's when the FBI get involved, like a child's missing,
Mm-hmm.
FBI is there, all kinds of, you know what I mean, like all the alphabets start showing up.
All of them.
Right. And these are people who are not going to be able to hang with the alphabets. When you start getting, you know,
Mm-hmm. They're
the
so.
alphabet boys, baby, they are going to tear you down.
I follow another content creator who, at the beginning of each of her lives, she features missing and exploited kids from
Oh,
different states. Every live, she'll put up, their picture where they're from because there's so many different people
to
from all
provide
over the.
awareness.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Ah, poor babies.
It's awful. It's awful. But yeah, I will share. So this particular video, we'll look at it tomorrow. Because it's like an hour long. If you guys, I might just run it early in the morning. The scene outside of the abandoned building, I might just run it in the morning. So with the chat room and you guys can watch it. Because this is giving the full depiction of what happened with with girl, I keep wanting to say Miss Dorothy and her daughter and all of the shenanigans outside maybe also when she was taken away by police. Is that in here?
Which really was weird. I asked to be handcuffed. Really?
I really almost feel like I don't believe that. The police are not trying to play games. And who
And
played
take to you. But
who
why?
played with that? I think she went downtown to give a statement.
I believe so too. It just doesn't make sense. I asked to be handcuffed because someone
Whomever-
called me and told me there was a mob outside of my house.
But then they let you go. Like,
And then you go back to the scene where the body was.
how many
You're
people
afraid.
are arrested and the people are like they're like, okay, good, the bad guy was arrested, and then you find out that they're back on the streets or they got bond and people like lose their shit. The police are not going to play with people like that. I don't understand why I don't know. I don't believe Dorothy. Dorothy is not a credible source.
I don't either.
So this video is also has them have up the yellow sheet when they were bringing the remains from the building. Like it's a full eyewitnessing of the situation at the abandoned house. I'm seeing everything you've seen kind of on the news coverage and things like that. This is what it is. And I guess people talking. People are like, they're talking about who's not crying, who's acting weird. I think they called Dorothy a child molester.
I heard that.
Bad. Okay, I'll put this up.
All right.
Bible Lady, I'm so glad you came and co-hosted with me. What a treat. Guys, can you give Bible Lady from the chat
Can you give
some
us a
applause?
like,
Can you give her
please?
some love? Bible Lady, what is your emoji? Is it the teeth emoji? Can you guys drop some teeth in the
Yeah,
chat
like the
for our girl, Baba Lady? Can you drop some teeth in the chat for our girl, please?
Thank you so much for having me up,
you
friend.
for co-hosting with me. It was such, and I mean that it's an honor and a privilege. I
No,
appreciate
stop it.
it.
No,
It is.
stop
It
it.
is.
It was my pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
It is, absolutely. I love having you guys up. You guys know, like, when I drop the link, I do like talking to you guys. Like, I like for you guys to get all your thoughts out, and I like to get an opportunity to talk to y'all. So, this was very nice to have like a dedicated moment to hear what your thoughts are on this topic, this awful current event that's going on. But I'm sure. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the people in Toledo, at least they know that that we care. There are people
Yeah,
outside of your general community, they care. So,
absolutely.
and they're sending you support through the clouds. They are angry and they're letting people know and trying to provide as much support as possible. I'm sure they're getting support from all across the country, maybe all across the world. So I hopefully the people of Toledo, Ohio feel supported. Um, Unfortunately, this family is very fugazi.
Dysfunctional, like
But
just oh,
when she started talking about the GoFundMe, girl, I was done. I was like, you see, GoFundMe. I think GoFundMe is a great thing, but it's unfortunate that it just always seems to get caught up in some of the most weirdest situations. I wish people would leave GoFundMe's alone. I wish also people who open GoFundMes under fraudulent circumstances can be
oh,
prosecuted. That would
thank
be
you. Get
awesome.
penalized somehow. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's to me that's an identity theft.
Mm-hmm.
It's identity. It's a lot of things. So I would hope
Yes.
something, you know. But yeah. Anyway, okay. Thank you so much, Bible
Thank
Lady.
you
We
for
love
having me up. Thank you, thank you, thank
you.
you. Thank you, chat,
Absolutely.
for bearing with me.
Absolutely. We love you. Okay, you take care. And
You
let
too.
us know if you do decide to send, your notes, your thoughts about, what's going on with this case, keep us posted as to if you get a response and what the
Absolutely.
response. We want to keep up on, because trust me, there's other people sending notes. I'm sure
And
there's
I will
other
reach
people.
out to you just to refresh my memory on how to do such, but I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to do it
Okay,
tomorrow.
well, I'll do this. You get your bullet points together, and
Okay.
I will look at Toledo Police Department and
Okay.
find you the links and emails that I think probably would be some good places to drop your message to.
Great. I really
Okay, I'll
appreciate it.
do
Thank you
that.
so
I'll
much,
get you
Fran.
that in the morning. Okay.
You
All
have a
right.
good
Take
night.
care.
Good
All
night,
right.
Boots
Take care.
Gang.
All right. Bye bye. Oh, we love Bible Lady. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. This is obviously still a developing story and so much still is out here. But if you want to see the scene from Tuesday as it was developing, there was a citizen reporter on the streets who was filming live and walking around and took about an hour of video on Facebook. And I will show it tomorrow morning. Um, I'll get up and put it up like around 9 o'clock. If you guys want to watch it, it'll be showing. So make sure your notifications are set, and I'll put it up around 9 o'clock and it'll just be running. Um, and it seems like it's a depiction of what happened. It's all here. So if you were wondering about that, all the snippets that we've seen, this is a long version of it. And then some other stuff. I think these text messages, if you hadn't seen that, I'm gonna share that right now on my Facebook. So some of this Facebook stuff, I'm just gonna share it on Facebook. Um, so if you are looking for some of this, you can find it on my Facebook page. Okay. Um, and then if you just go down the feed, what I posted like days before. So pretty much anything that I'm working on, if I find stuff corresponding with it, I'm posting it to Facebook. And you guys know I broadcast to Facebook too. And we have Facebook friends in the midst right now. Anyway, guys, you guys take care. What did you say? Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Absolutely. If you see a GoFundMe in the name of Kei'Mani Latigue, do not send $1. Don't send any money. Um, there have been some funeral arrangements that have been made, some donations, and I think probably the people of Toledo have this. So don't send a dime. Don't send any money. These are all fraudulent and fake, according to the family. So thank you for mentioning that again. Don't send $1 because our dollars make a difference. You could send, enough people get together and you have considerable amounts of cash. So don't send any money. The people associated, the family members have said that they have not put up any GoFundMe. So thank you for remembering to say that. Oh, see, I'm going to put something up in the morning and then I'll see you guys later and then we'll talk Nesto. I know PCFP put up some tablet calls today. And then I did some research on a couple things. You guys had some questions and Sis did some research on a couple of the questions that you guys had earlier regarding the final plea. So I have some information on that. So we will definitely talk Nesto at lunchtime tomorrow. Okay. All right. You guys have a good night. And thanks for joining me tonight. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay. Take care, guys.